of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the worst part.
Way to go. Way to go.
Remind me to show you the picture.
Or my pen. Except your bullshit, what the... Shame on you.
Here we go.
I know. How about roll call?
Lois Tiley,
Yes.
Diane Dennis,
Here.
Marie Rowe,
Here.
Richard Horner,
Here.
Michael Nesbitt,
Present.
Kathy Harris,
Here.
and Sarah Tiley.
Here.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda as presented?
Item C, the Saginaw Valley Rail Trail Run Michigan Jeep Series.
Where are you sticking
Yeah,
that?
where are you seeing it?
New business,
Oh,
letter C.
I see, okay. You heard a motion to accept the agenda as presented, as amended?
I'll make a motion, we accept the agenda as amended.
I'll approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Let's see. Any announcements or public comment? Not, move on. The Spicer Engineering Report.
Good evening, nice to see everybody again. It's been a while since I've been here. Hope Mitch and Neil are taking care of you and everything's going good. So,
Mitch would be here, it's his wife's birthday.
Yep.
They had reservations, he refused to change.
yep. So we gave them the night off.
Yeah.
So, you should have a copy of our report. Some items that are significant are, as a part of the drinking water asset management plan, we were able to use some of the funding that was left over from the excavation. And actually, we were able to do 59 more water services. So we were able to inventory 59 water services within the Phase 1 water project area that we were targeting. We had a feeling that there would be a lot of galvanized water services, you know, and possibly some lead in those areas. So we were able to document 59 more water services, and we're gonna put those into the GIS, and we're gonna get them included into the Phase 1 water project. So we'll have a much better handle on which water services need to be replaced as a part of that project.
Yep, so that's the total, brings the total up to 233 that we received
Yep.
via state funds, nothing from the village.
Correct.
We did find a little over 10 galvanized on that side and one, maybe two lead.
Yep.
So basically, almost all the funding is done and gone through. There's like $400 remaining in the Pipe Tech fund.
Right.
But they've been tremendous. We had 2 water leaks out there last week, and during the process, they came in and used their own machine, didn't bill us, didn't charge us a thing. It would have taken us a couple hours to even dig the thing because of the electrical, the internet, all the wiring down there. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Twice they did that for us. Tremendous company. There is a little bit left on the Spicer side,
Yep.
and we're working with the state. Leanne is back. She was on maternity leave. We're gonna work on trying to figure out a couple days where Spicer and DPW, myself, can go in and verify lines inside that we weren't able to, so that we can put it into our system and give that to the state and move along with
Yep.
other grants and other opportunities. But
So that project has been going very well. Again, you know, Pipe Tech, they have been very good to work with, but very pleasantly surprised with how good they've been and have heard nothing but good things about it, so we're very happy with that. The Phase 1 water improvements project, we did meet with the County Public Works Commissioner's office. They are moving forward on their end to help the village sell bonds. We're targeting bidding the project December, January-ish to try to get the best prices and the best contractors. We'd be looking at selling bonds March, April-ish, and then starting construction May, June. And then we'd want to be done with construction by the end of next year. So that's gonna come pretty quick, so.
Yes, it is.
But that was a much needed water project, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can bid it at the right time to get the best prices. So,
A lot of companies like to get their, during the winter, like to figure
Yes.
out exactly when they're gonna start and where and how much money so that they can start planning all their projects and have enough money on hand to go after things and kind of pick and choose what they want, so
And
I
this-
think that timing is
yes,
good, and it kind of worked to our favor in the DWAM.
yes, it did.
That said, it's kind of a two-piece, as we went after the category B, we have not heard, called today. We'll get an email either Monday or Tuesday saying we were awarded or not, but that could change the scope of the work. If we get it, that's $526,000 worth of new roads, $250,000 of that paid for by the state, which is huge. So I was very optimistic. After speaking with the lady today, I am less optimistic. She was very professional, gave no signs of either way, which way it was gonna go. I had called some friends within the state and heard some positive things, and I was kind of banking on it, but she said this will be the last year for category B, which they said 2 years ago, I believe. But she was very by the book, and no personality or charm was gonna get any information out of her, but I tried.
Yeah.
So we'll know Monday or Tuesday. Hopefully it's positive, and that'd be huge for our project, and it sells it to the county even easier, and Wendling's office and the county commissioners, so, hopefully it's a smiley face on Monday or Tuesday.
Yep. So, that would be nice. That's gonna allow us to pave a lot more roads and resurface a lot more roads than we would otherwise do as a part of the water project. As part of the water project, we're patching the roads. This would allow us to resurface the roads within those areas. So it's huge. And we'd love to be able to say, you got a grant to do it, so. Other than that, I do not have anything else. Be happy to answer any questions you may have. I would like to tell you that at the end of this year, I am retiring. So, been with Spicer for 27 years. I'm gonna stay on part-time. I've got a lot of projects like this one that I have a vested interest in. So I'm gonna stay on for, a few years, working part-time. Mitch and Neil will still be working, as your project manager here in town, and I'm still talking to them all the time. I'll still talk to them after January 1st all the time, so really not going anywhere. I'm just kind of getting out of project management and doing something a little different, so.
Well, enjoy your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I've been working with St. Charles, since day one for 27 years now, so.
We enjoyed having you here too.
Thank you, I appreciate that. So I take pride in everything we've done, so. If there's nothing else, I think I'm gonna skip out.
Thank you, John.
Okay?
Thanks, John.
Thank you. Nice seeing everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the council minutes from the last meeting. I hear a motion to accept the minutes from the August meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Commission and committee reports, Park Commission from August 17th. Any questions on those? If not, do you move on to the Planning Commission, August 18th meeting? Anybody have any questions on those minutes? If not, do I hear a motion to accept and file the Park and Planning Commission minutes?
I'll make a motion accepted by.
I'll support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Moving on to communications, the Rebel Cody Fall Markets for 2022.
Tomorrow, or Friday is the VIP, 5 to 7:30, $15 admission. There, I was looking for information whether all the vendors will be set up at that time. I did not see the response. And then Saturday is the normal general admission, $5, 10 to 3. As you recall, the first time they came was during COVID, and we had over 4,000 people in the village. The second time they came, about 2,700. Third time, about 2,000, and we thought it was dwindling. Well, they made some changes to the parking and vendors, and they're back up to 2,500 people come from out of town to this event. So, good for the local businesses. I know Subway gets a lot of business. I know the Alley normally partners with them, or used to in the past. I know Bad River is always packed about 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Do you know what the difference is between the VIP night and the Saturday?
First pick is my guess.
That's what I was thinking, but.
Yeah. And Saturday it'll be all picked through now.
Okay, no further questions, move on to Alex Schofield.
Well, last year we had a on the run hometown concert in the park. They've moved it out to the Saints this year. Still, Sam Mayer is helping out behind the scenes. Alex is a graduate of St. Charles, who's down in Nashville and plays all the major honky tonks and bars around there. He came up this summer and he was Higgins Lake, Holton Lake, everywhere, just traveling, touring. He's finally written some songs that are getting played on the radio. I think he's a really good songwriter. There will be, it's $25. There's hard tickets at the door. There's tickets online. There will be beer. Is all I'm aware of. Aaron Simmons is opening, I believe, and his band has come up from Nashville to play for us. So should be a good event.
Yeah, I think so. That's speaking
Any questions? Okay, let's move on to payment of claims. Anybody have any questions on the payment of claims? If not, we hear a motion to pay the bills in the amount of, looks like $291, $835, $81.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of claims in the amount of $291,835.81.
Second.
Support? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Moving on, new business, cemetery water bill.
Earlier this month, we kind of try to watch out for people and make sure they don't have leaks. We notice something fishy, we alert them so that they can either test to see if they have a toilet running or something serious, a hose outside. We've received calls about bills as they are, due. It was Friday, right? One member of the planning commission called and wanted to know why his was so high, but well, he had a garden this year and he found a leak, and that was the cause. Well, we found a leak at the cemetery, the Catholic cemetery, and we warned them, and we went down and helped them get it turned off. They called the next day and wanted it turned back on, and DPW went down there, turned it on, and while Bart was leaving, he said, "You have another leak right here." Showed it to him. Well, their sexton took that information for what it was worth and did nothing about it. So then between that time and I don't know how many days, 192,000 gallons of water went through their meter. So we went down there and turned it off and said, you gotta do something. So they get their bill, and obviously it's a lot more than normal. You have their normal usage in front of you, which they normally turn on in end of April and turn off late October, early November. They pay anywhere from $20 to $24 to $47 to $38. Well, their bill is now $4,133.72. This does happen at residents throughout the village, and there was a policy put in place in, I believe, 2018, where you set up payment plans with the village manager or the treasurer, and you have a year to pay off the leak, the cause, on top of your other bills. Well, just so happens that one of the lawyers in town is on the board of directors for the Catholic Church and wanted to talk and discuss, and was looking for, we don't have that kind of money. What can you do for us, sort of thing. And I said, well, there is a policy in place where you have a year to pay this off. Anything other than that, he said, what about cutting the bill? And I said, well, I don't have the authority to do that for this kind of money, but I'd be happy to take it to council. We will discuss it, and I will let you know what is determined. And one of the ideas he had was to cut the bill in half, making it so they would owe $2,066.50 and 2 years to pay it off. As I've heard rumors that they were downsizing. I've heard that they were consolidating with a local Catholic church. I don't know what's happening. I wish there was a better way to find out, but this is the case for you to solve.
Would we do this for Jim Blow that lives down on Chestnut Street?
There is a policy. I don't know if we'd give them 2 years. If
We're covered.
is this a hypothetical, or are you talking about you got a leak? No, we would put the policy in place. The largest I've seen since I've been here was prior to me getting here, was like $750, and they gave the person a year. I haven't seen anything higher than that. We have set up.
I mean, as far as cutting in half or something.
Depending on, we've never had one to this extreme in my time here.
But you've never cut that 700 in half,
No, you
No.
never have.
and that's our own people.
That's
Right,
correct.
I mean, not that
And
long
you
ago.
warned them, and you warned them there was
Yep,
another leak.
They knew
That
about
is
it.
Turned it off
That's-
twice for
That's
him.
my problem.
That's correct.
I mean,
is
they didn't take
about
care
I
it.
mean, I'm okay with them paying it off over, the year and do that, but I think they should pay. I don't
All of
see why
it.
we need to cut, yeah.
Do you think, would you be willing to go 2 years, or just the one?
It's $4,100, I think a year is plenty.
One thing though, I'll say this. It's hard for me to stomach that when I know that the township at the cemetery doesn't pay anything for their water.
And that's the catch.
And so if they had a leak,
It just wash.
just a wash, $4,000 down,
Whereas-
literally the drain.
Whereas this way, we at least get something. But at the same time, that is my holdup and reservation. Would Joe Blow get the same deal? Probably not. But what does the township cemetery pay?
Why doesn't the township cemetery pay?
But it is a nonprofit, don't they give back to the community too?
I believe it was a trade-off for land, water for land deal, and I'd have to go back in the records to see.
Really?
Well before my time.
I just feel like if we cut it in half, it's just gonna cause us problems down the road.
I think so
I
too.
mean, you figure, we had Caleb Brown in here not that long ago with the $900 water bill. We gave him a year. We didn't cut it in half for him.
I wouldn't cut it in half, but I could see giving them 2 years.
Yeah,
We
for
gave
sure.
people during COVID who couldn't pay bills, we gave them some leniency on water bills.
We did.
I don't see what's wrong with 2 years, but making them pay full.
Okay.
agree.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yep.
I don't know.
I agree with
Come
that.
to the end of the 2 years and
Yep,
it's not
especially
paid
when
yet.
they were told twice.
Right.
And still chose to turn it back on.
And Jim did say that if there's ever a leak in the future, you call the church or myself, and not deal with anybody down there, even though they're hired by you, but,
Right.
just to make sure, yeah.
And what happens at the end of the 2 years if they don't have it paid off? Let's say they haven't been making regular,
We don't,
Payments.
we don't turn them on, we leave them turned off.
But if they get put under, they don't pay taxes.
Right. Mhm.
We can't even get it back.
Does
get it
anyone know
back
why
on
it
that.
was ignored? Why they
Never mind,
didn't-
forget that.
I- It's my belief that the sexton thought he could fix it himself and was working on it, and it just didn't happen. And so when I went down there, he said, yeah, this isn't one I can fix. And I would have to
So
call
He didn't
somebody.
take it upon himself to get a hold of it.
I think he was trying to save money by doing it himself
Okay.
rather than hiring it out, and in turn got burned. That is my belief.
Yeah, I'd be fine with the 2 years, but I just don't see cutting it in half.
Yeah, it's not like we're putting it on their taxes. So,
Do we hear a motion to that effect?
I make a motion that we allow the church to have 2 years to pay off the bill in full.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Senate Bill 1106 and then 1107.
so these are reintroductions of bills from last session. As you know, I sit on the Finance Committee, the Michigan Municipal League Finance Committee statewide. There's about 20 of us, all managers from almost all over the state, UP, everything. And so one of our jobs is to kind of give our opinion on legislation, on how we think it affects villages, cities, townships. And this bill will be coming up. We have a meeting next week. And I just wanted to kind of give you a synopsis of what I think. I'll take it to planning as well and kind of tell you how I plan on voting, if it's okay with you. So this basically is a Solar Energy Facilities Taxation Act, and we've received 2 calls about solar in the last week and a half. One, a business wants to put it on top of their building, and one is looking for land to start a solar farm. So the problems with this bill is, you know, I'm very uncomfortable with it, basically because they're going to give businesses and corporations tax-free rights and subsidies to get out of paying us for what they're doing. So I disagree with this legislation personally, but I'm going to suggest that we vote in the Finance Committee, or I vote on the Finance Committee. Basically, I remain neutral. I don't support it, I'm not against it, and let it play out through the process, but that's a lot of challenges. There's no public hearing after the application is made, whether it's zoned or unzoned, which it should be. What else did I say? I'm just giving you a rundown. So say the public is opposed, then what? Can the local unit deny this? What are the consequences of denial? And it looks like we may charge an application fee for the processing not to exceed $30,000, but you know that $30,000 isn't going to pay for their taxes over the lifetime of the solar farm. And you're seeing these pick up everywhere else. Shiawassee, Genesee in the corner, Tuscola's starting to. I even think parts of Saginaw are starting to see this.
Is that a solar farm out there on, is
Is
it
it
Davis Road or?
13? Yeah.
Thomas Road?
So we're losing out on taxes. The state's giving away money, is what I'm saying, to help give a grant to help them construct. The local treasurer would have to figure out what the taxes, which taxes go to what entity, whether it's the ISD, the schools, etc. More work for her with, you know, no increase from pay from the state. They're basically making us do all their work. If they don't pay their taxes, there's really no fine. They get a year's grace and get to figure it out. Just my opinion on some of this, but I'd like to vote neutral on it and keep us out of it for now, if that's okay with you. I don't know if you saw anything there that you said, hey, this is a great idea, let's move forward supporting it, but I think we shouldn't oppose it, but we shouldn't support losing tax base based on subsidies for a corporation.
So just stay neutral.
If that's okay with you, I'd be happy to stay neutral.
I'm fine with it.
I'm good with that.
Do we need a motion in that direction? Or
I would prefer it just so it has weight when I go to the
Yeah.
finance committee and say, this municipality, although I personally oppose it, I think this is the best way to move forward, is just remain neutral and see what happens with the legislation and see how many more solar farms are popping up, because I think they're gonna get big in the next, probably,
I believe that's a good idea.
next 5 years for sure, but I think you're gonna see more farms reach out to municipalities saying, what are you gonna do with this land? We want it.
The ones that have reached out to you already here, how, can they go forward?
Nope, they'd have to go to the planning commission. The planning commission's going to have to set some kind of parameters on this, and that's a good thing we're going through the process of zoning, et cetera. I have seen in the past, people from another board in this, let's just say 2 mile radius, suggest a solar farm on property that they may own, even though it's in a floodplain, but I don't know if that directly affects solar farms. So, pretty new to this, having not dealt with it. I've dealt with wind turbines, but not solar farms. That happened in Shiawassee County after I left the commission, so. But just a heads up, I'm gonna remain neutral, if that's okay with you.
I'll make a motion to allow you to stay neutral for Senate Bills 1106 and 1107.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried.
I'll just say this, the fiscal impact. The bills would likely have an indeterminate, although likely negative fiscal impact on local governments of unknown magnitude. Well, no kidding. No kidding. Anyone that's read this knows that that's gonna happen. Likely. If you put likely in front of it, as they teach you in college to write papers, it sounds better, and you're not giving a specific answer.
Everything is very vague. Let's move on to item C, rail and trails item.
There's a Run Michigan Cheap series who likes to do 5Ks, half marathons, and 10Ks. They held a race here, starting at the Van Wormer Trailhead and to St. Charles in early spring, and thought that our trail was beautiful. And they want to return at the end of October, and are wishing to use our parking spaces in that time. And I asked what, we have the haunted house going, you know, what time of day is this race? As well as you can see, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, so I don't think that should be a problem. But they would like village permission, kind of like the last month's MS bike race coming off our trail, or fundraiser I should say, but just approval from us. The event is fully insured. We can be added as an additionally insured if need be. The morning is available. I told her there wasn't an application process per se, but they likely have 20 participants parking in that spot.
How long will they be there?
Well, there was a 3-hour and 45-minute cutoff for the half marathon people. So, till about noon, hopefully. I looked it up just in case.
It was my car would be there longer.
I would have that car come pick me up. But I think it's another great way to bring people to town, and after the race, maybe they can stop and eat and imbibe a little bit.
Sounds good.
So what do we need from us, anything?
Just an approval of allowing the SVRT St. Charles Trailhead
Any motion to that effect?
Frank Race Management Team to use our Lumberjack Park parking spaces.
I'll make a motion.
Support.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to departmental reports, the DPW report.
Don is on vacation. This week they picked up brush. They were preparing the park for Rebel Magnolia last week. They helped with the 59 extra lines. We had 2 water leaks in the last week and a half. As you can see, the routine jet and vac flood pumps, various catch basins. They jet and vac Miami and East Bell. Clean up and remove rain gardens on Flint Street, the 9 catch basins. The new dump truck has arrived. They mowed the lagoons. And then by law, after we find galvanized or lead, we are required to draft a letter and let residents know, which requires Don's signature, and I include other information for them in the letter drafted, and so that was it.
Rain gardens, are those the ones at the corner of Fulton and Flint?
Yeah.
Definitely looks different out there.
Police department report.
Right before the meeting, Officer Thompson pulled our new vehicle. It just arrived today. So it came to us today, so we pulled it up out there. So if you guys would like to take a minute and go in and just smell the new car smell, apparently that's the
Don't
thing
smell like
to
that
do.
for long.
Where'd they hide the lights?
That'll be in the next, that's phase two, putting in cages and lights and sirens and all that good stuff, so. Also, there's a fill in the blank in your report, and you got the rest of the report. Central Dispatch had a computer crash, so a little bit of that information you just got this evening, but we did make 30 traffic stops. That's your fill in the blank there for the month.
Can I ask you a question? Explain to me what that officer does in the school. Tell me what she's there for.
Okay, well, we've had a couple parents ask, so what we wanna do is put together an event to start to address that. I know her information was put on the school website, and, I don't think they addressed that. So, her job there, at this point in time is just to begin to, it's a safety relationship building, position right now. So her position while she's at the school is to build relationships with students, teachers, staff, do any resolution, conflict resolution at a real minor level, assist staff if they just need another person just to go and, walk down the hall or something. So her initial thing is building relationships and then just assisting staff. So we support the school policies, any questions that they have, they come and say, hey, can you help us with this? Or, hey, there's this issue, what do you think about that? So at this point, that's where she's at for
So
her.
she's not there to keep our students safe at all.
Absolutely, that's the other portion of it, absolutely, is school safety.
So she carries a gun.
She is a certified police officer in that school, so she absolutely does carry a
So
weapon
if
in
somebody
the school.
comes in and starts something, she has the right to take care of that person.
If if there is, an active shooter
Mhm.
situation, her number one responsibility is to stop the threat. That's her number one responsibility. Number two then will be to assist people that are injured, but that is her primary responsibility, if that was to occur at that school.
Has she had
Absolutely.
training in that?
Yep, she had the initial active shooter training that was required by the state here, the first couple weeks she was here. Starting next week, there's an advanced active shooter training that she is enrolled in that is a 3-series training. So, the timing was good that we got her in the initial training right within 2 weeks of her, getting started with the department, and now she's in the advanced training, absolutely.
Has she had training in conflict resolution?
Yep, some of that's required initially when you go through law enforcement. There's also what's called implicit bias and de-escalation. That's required by the state as well, so. Yeah, and it's a process, boy, I tell you though, in those moments, you don't, you really gotta draw from, that experience and what you've experienced, so. The wonderful thing about her being there is that her presence there is going to, it initially, in and of itself, just reduce incidents that may occur, or if people see there's a police officer at the school at that time. That tends to be a deterrent from behaviors that are non-compliant.
I will say this, as she's been interacting with students, some interactions have been great, very positive, and then I'll hear some students say, "You don't want to mess with her, man. She had me in handcuffs." So there's a deterrent there. So she's building relations, but others know, like, you don't want to mess, this person. I think it's been good so far.
Yeah, she hasn't had any students in handcuffs, I'm pretty sure you guys know that, so, but it's, for some reason, they love the sound of it, I don't know why, so, but that's, like you said, it's super important for, and us to be involved in the school and get involved in youth. That's kind of one of those pillars of 21st century policing. You'll also know if you take a look around at all the other schools in the state, there's just SROs in a lot of schools right now. And it's more about safety and relationship building and making those connections. We're not taking kids to jail. It's just not our job. So supporting that school staff is super important.
Just want our kids to be safe.
Absolutely, yep, and that's her, yeah, if there's ever an incident.
Even kid on kid? Or is it just for outer people coming in?
I'm sorry, I apologize,
Yeah.
what's your question?
Yeah, you got kids fighting inside, does she handle that? Kid on kid?
The school policies are gonna be the first thing in apply, so if kids get in fights at school, for example, she was out, with an illness this week, and, they had a fight in the school, 2 boys went in the bathroom and got into a fist fight.
Is that held through the school, I mean, discipline through the school, or does she?
Yep, absolutely, it's not a criminal matter, she's gonna support them, be there, if she needs to help kind of separate kids or whatever, but, she's kind of acting, to support the school policies and to support the school with, if the parents come in and they're mad because they don't want their kids suspended, she can just be there, a presence there to, assist the staff, but, school policies don't change because an SRO walks in there and becomes part of that.
Thank you.
Anybody have any more questions of Julie?
Yes, I do. I've noticed that for the last, pretty much ever since I've been on this council now, the lack of ticket writing. My feeling is, I sit in my lazy boy at night, any time of the day, I guess, and I hear vehicles flying down our road, vehicles flying down Saginaw Street. And when I say vehicles, it's pickup trucks, it's cars, it's motorcycles. In the winter, it's snowmobiles, golf carts, side-by-sides, maybe not golf carts, but side-by-sides. They're flying down our street, and I can hear them flying down Saginaw Street. And I feel like nothing's being done about it. The lack of ticket writing, okay, you had, I looked at the August one. You had 18 traffic stops with 5 citations. This month you've had 30 traffic stops and 13 citations. And your excuse or your reason is always you just want to educate. Julie, I feel like educating isn't working. Okay?
Okay.
Also, every month we see pretty much where one of one of your officers all go to training. You're going to a lot of training. I don't see where this training is being utilized. This village pays for all you officers to go to training, but I don't see where it's being utilized. And I understand it's hard to get police officers right now, totally understand that. But, and nothing against any of you personally, but I feel that our police department is not doing law enforcement. I feel like our police department is doing more community policing than law enforcement.
Okay.
No, I can also agree on that. My question for you is, when you say you're educating, what exactly do you mean by educating these drivers?
So part of the traffic stop is there's kind of a mantra. You either communicate or you cite them. So educating them means like, hey, there's a speed limit sign. Did you see the speed limit sign? Or hey, there's a stop sign there at the corner, you know. So we just communicate what the citation, or what the infraction was that they did. So, and then this is how we need to correct that behavior. So that's what I mean by communicate with them.
Now, I can understand that fully if you have a young, new driver. Now, if you were to pull me over for speeding, you were to pull Hart over for speeding, you know, any one of us, we've been driving long enough, we don't need the education. Give us the ticket, we know better, we screwed up.
Okay.
Or shame on us.
Exactly, and I'd be me, and I would say that too. If I'm going through town, and I will say this personally, there has been times where I was on my phone driving 65 miles an hour through town and passed a police officer, and nothing was done about it. And that's a problem for me, because this happened actually today. I was driving back home from town, and I was flying because I was on my phone, past the police officer sitting, nothing was done.
Okay.
And it's a problem. I also agree with that. I think the educating isn't working. It's time to, you are a police officer, that is your job, is to police and enforce the law. You are not an educator, we are not paying you to be a teacher. And that's my theory on it.
Thank you.
My concern also is that you have two relatively young officers on your department. I worry about what kind of training they're getting. Are they getting training on traffic stops? Are they getting training on making arrests? Are they getting training on enforcing the law? I wonder, I don't know. I wonder what kind of training they're actually getting.
Okay. Well, questions like that, if you'd like to come in and sit down every training and go through, get certificates, or requirement is, shows that it was accomplished, how many hours, and what area those trainings were in. So all that's documented, so I have all that.
Okay, I
in the
understand that.
office, so.
I understand that. I have no, I mean, you know, I understand they're getting the training and they're completing it. But once they get out on the road, are they
They apply
utilizing
it.
it? Are they utilizing it? The village, again, I say the village is paying for this training. Are we getting our money's worth?
See, we got another problem also on the south end of town with Chestnut Street. You've got a drag strip down through there. Police car went out there, they park in Beer Line's parking driveway. He sits there 10 minutes and he moseys away, almost as if don't feel it's important enough to sit there and do a traffic stop, or a speed trap. Let's face it, that's what we're gonna be. But they come up and down that road, well over 35 miles an hour, a lot of them. Checked it with the radar. No.
Yeah, jamming, yeah. I think there's even a sign out there, speed check by radar, so.
The people out
Yeah.
there, they've even put signs out there. What they do, they ran over a sign on purpose. You get these people coming from the lumber company up there. You get the people coming from Chestnut through from that way. And they just don't have any respect for that. And it's 35, and they go to 35 right on into the 25 zone and never slow down, right to the light and stop.
Yeah, they don't slow down to the 25, but we see that on a regular basis.
The other day, another one that really is a bad situation is that traffic sign in the middle of town, coming from the south. When you pull up to that sign, there's no left turn. State police make left turns out of there going south.
Yep.
Our officers sit there and watch people do it, and nobody does nothing about it. That's a no left turn, that's a violation, that's a ticket. And they cut you right off, you know, if you're going right.
I just think the focus right now is that you're more concerned with educating than policing.
So you're wanting me to write more citations?
I feel like I get educating to a point. Like I said, if they're a young driver and it's all fresh and new to them, 100% educate them. 100%. But now if I'm speeding, I've been driving for long enough, I know the rules. that's when a ticket
She
needs to be
drives
enforced.
really fast.
I do. I drive like a jerk.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest.
I do too, and that's why I use my cruise. I try not to do it in town here, but, uh-huh.
We know how to target then, I guess, you guys have been your bad drivers.
And it's not, I'm not
No,
trying
it's
to
So
come
if you're
at,
asking me to write more tickets, then we'll just put that on the agenda to do less communicating, more writing citations. That's
And
that's
it's-
what you're
and
asking.
it's not that I'm asking you not
Say
to educate entirely. Because I do believe that education is a key with our younger drivers, our new drivers. But for us, we've been driving for years, what is educating gonna do? I get stopped, I get educated, I'm gonna be like, yep, okay, thanks, and I'm still gonna go do it again, and again, and again.
So then that's not really a law enforcement issue at that point. That's probably an issue that no law enforcement officer is gonna be able to correct.
Right, but it still deserves to be ticketed. Because
When you get a ticket.
I won't complain, if I get a ticket,
I complain.
I mean, will I be
I
mad?
would say that.
Yeah,
You should get a ticket.
but I'll own up to it because it was me that did it.
Yep. Yep.
But I feel like we're just focusing too much on educating and not policing.
Okay, can we go on to?
Yes.
No, I got a question.
Sure.
How many hours is I believe her name's Allison, is she doing at the school with all the football and basketball games coming up? Wasn't she allocated only so many hours?
For 4 or something? 4
Yeah,
hours.
she
4
works
days.
16 hours a week in school activities.
16 at the activities and then.
And that includes whether it's in the building or at a football game. I know she's been to a couple games where she hasn't been on the clock, so she's, building relationships, and sometimes that doesn't get you
She
to.
have to work on in the village too?
Yes, sir, then she works half of her time, so she'll work 16 hours in the school associated, responsibilities, and then 16 hours in the village itself, in law enforcement.
Okay.
I think we beat this pretty good, so.
Yeah, I think we beat it quite a little bit, let's go on to
Yeah,
something
we've
else.
got plenty to go on here.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Julie.
okay, yes, thanks, Julie. Okay, where do we go from here?
Scotty. Building inspector's report.
All right, we had 8 permits last month, for a total income of, just under 100. And I had 16 complaints, 11 of them have since been resolved. We have 2 commercial properties, that are under review right now. One is, where the car wash currently is. We'll have a, planning commission meeting next week on the plan review for that. And the other one is in the parking lot where the building where the supermarket is. I'm still waiting on a set of plans, a sketch. I need information, what they're doing. After reviewing the different uses for what they're intending, I believe it's still gonna be considered a B use, which would be legal there and would not need or require plan review or planning commission review. So, once I have their information, we can move forward from there. That's all I have.
Any questions of Scott?
I would just add that our child group home issue from last week has since been resolved with MML after discussion with Scott, and we will be addressing this as part of the planning process going forward based on new state laws, based on our new regulations and zoning issues, so that's kind of a good thing.
Okay. Moving on to the next item, we'll be going into closed session. I need a motion to close the regular session at this time.
And let's close the regular session.
Support?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I